Hey, what's going on? MikeMoore here, and this week I have significantly more changes to show you than last week. So, if you'll remember last week, all I had to show you was some jars, and ranted about vertex colors for a little bit, and it wasn't that excited, but this week is different. We're going to start off with looking at this log mesh here. When I showed off woodcutting in the first episode, it was just kind of like, hey look, I can punch trees, and then I cut them down and we glazed over logs, but I'm just going to let you look at these logs for a little bit. They're pretty nice logs. But that is not what I'm here to show you. What I'm here to show you today is new models and generators that we put into the game this week. So if I go ahead and have a step outside here, you'll see behind these trees there are some wind turbines. Wind turbines that move, generate their own electricity, and don't look like giant fucking jet engines, which is nice. So this is going to be the medium-sized wind turbine. The small one's going to be those shitty little jet engine ones that you can build in the game right now. And the large one's going to be an even larger variant of this, like the big towering ones that you'd see in real life. We don't want to only make you build like micro machines, like little tiny machines that you can hide in a building and not look at. If you're making a big industrial automated settlement, you want it to look big and industrial. That's precisely why we're making giant ones, so you can actually see it when you're walking up to settlements. You can see these giant towering structures that look industrial. And that's precisely why, along with the big windmills, you'll remember how I showed off the little silos that fueled the generators in episode 1? Well, this is the biggest silo. Look at this. Look at how those giant steel girders and all that metal just immediately makes your base look more industrial. It just changes the whole feel of a base. It's not like a little town situation where you have a couple buildings and some settlers living in it. Like, no, it looks like a self-sufficient base. It looks like there's something going on in this base. And that's the idea, right? You wanna build big things, and you wanna actually have a reason to build the big things too. And I hate in Fallout right now when you go into a settlement, it's like, oh, I can build a big building and put some beds in it, I guess, but like there's no real reason to do that. You could have the same effect with just like a whole bunch of beds outside, and I don't know, settlements are just so empty and lacking right now, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to have like a big bunch of machinery and buildings and everything that actually look like they belong in a settlement and actually do something. They're functional as well as they look cool. Before we move on to something else, I should mention that these windmills, they're where are they? This is actually the texture from the turbine. You'll see the hull of the turbine there. That's the texture I'm using here. That's not the final texture, it's just what I used to make them because I stole the animation from the turbine. But later on we'll probably have some unique textures, even though it looks pretty cool. It actually looks pretty decent. I don't know, maybe we'll stick with this texture. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see next week, or the week after, whatever I decide on doing. So, moving on, over here, we've got some solar panels. Now, I did say I was going to make solar panels, and this is the first iteration of that. This texture is made by a few people in my Discord chat, and they're going to continue on helping me with textures for the foreseeable future. Actually, the person who made this casing texture he's actually made something else that I'll be showing you guys next week and publishing, so look forward to that instead of just another update video on this factory mod. I'll introduce you guys to him actually next week and show you how just how much his textures outshine mine. Like my textures, it's a pretty well-known fact that my textures aren't very good, but his textures are pretty amazing. So we're gonna keep doing this. I hate texturing, and it shows in my work, so we'll just keep getting him to make me textures, and I'll keep making models, and it's gonna be good stuff. So these solar panels, these are the first iteration of standing solar panels. Like the standing solar panels, these are gonna be the small ones. There's actually gonna be medium ones and large ones, and they're all gonna generate different amounts of power, obviously. And there's also going to be wall-mounted solar panels, so say you could have like a big wall mount along here and stick a bunch of solar panels on them. And there's also going to be roofing solar panels, so you can cover your whole base in solar panels like one of those crazy rich people in California. So yeah, we're planning on making these solar panels track the sun. Obviously you can see they're not doing that right now, I'm not exactly sure how doable that is given Fallout 4's engine, but we have an idea of how to do it, so if that gets working, you might see that in the next update video I make. We'll see how it goes. As for other things we've got planned, Genesis is currently working on a pipe system to connect generators together with the fuel silos, so they're not just like wirelessly giving everything a bunch of oil. It's kind of unrealistic making everything wirelessly give it fuel, but it's cool. It's still cool. I just prefer it wasn't like that. So later on, we're gonna have pipes connecting these, and it's gonna be like a big pipe grid network, and we're also gonna do that with like a second form of energy that we're gonna make to power higher leveled machines. And another thing I want to address in this mod is the noise level that settlers hate. If you had a whole bunch of these generators, settlers would just be like really upset all the time, because settlers are dicks. They're like halfway across a fucking settlement and they're just like, oh, there's a generator a kilometer away from me and it's really messing with my vibe, you know. I was having a nice day, I was reading my wasteland survival guide, and I just hear that generator and it just makes me so upset. It makes me so angry. You're discriminating against my ears with your generators. Blah, 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 blah. I don't fucking know, I hate it. I hate the settlers, they're super bitchy, and we're gonna make them significantly less bitchy. I don't know how we're gonna do that. We're gonna like reduce the noise level, or maybe make some kind of like soundproofing that you can put on the inside of factory buildings or something. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna figure out a way to do that eventually, so settlers are less bitchy. Or you just automate your whole settlement so you don't have to deal with settlers because they're jerks. Anyway, yeah, as I said, I'll be releasing a mod next week that I've seen a couple people ask for. And I've also got some of you that have been asking why the Book of Eli Machete isn't added to MCAM yet. And that's because there's a couple other things in MCAM I want to do that I don't want to upload MCAM like 4 times in a week, because it's a big mod, right? And I have like 32 kilobyte per second upload speed, so it's gonna cause issues with me uploading things. It takes like 6 hours to upload, so if I upload one weapon and I have another thing to upload next week and then another thing to upload next week, it's just like a significant chunk out of my work time that I want to use for other things. So MCAM will get updated eventually after I finish updating the texture on the couple of weapons I want to update. And yeah, so next week, no update video. That just means twice the stuff that you're going to see next week. After that, we'll see where things go. So yeah, share this around if you want. I know there's a couple people that are interested in this that don't know about my videos, because I've mentioned it on other videos, and they're like, hey, you still working on that factory mod that you were working on? So yeah, if you hear anybody that might be interested in this kind of thing, share it around and tell them what's going on. I was gonna post it to that settlement subreddit, the subreddit where people make settlements and post around and talk about that kind of thing. It's just a community for making Fallout settlements, but it's not done yet, and I don't want to really bother them if the mod's not done, so I'm just going to leave it as is right now, and I'll post it when it's done. Other than that, yeah, that's all I've got to say. I'm gonna hold off on attention whoring until a later date. So that's all that's going on. Thanks a whole bunch for tuning in this week, and I'll be seeing you in the next week's video. Later days.